Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
Good evening and welcome to News at 9, live from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. I'm Katharina Chang and these are your headlines. Military spokesperson says there's an attempted resurgence of the LTTE. Local leaders Kopi, Tebihan and Appan killed in confrontation with troops. Man dies in custody of the Wattala police. Investigations underway. Scuffle between the chairman and the deputy chairman of the Balapitiya Pradeshya Sabha. Sittings adjourned for half an hour. Shashikala Sivardhan resigns as captain of the Sri Lanka women's cricket team. Will continue to play. Let's now cross over to the main news desk for details of these stories and much more.
Thank you very much, Katrina Chang, for bringing us the top stories for today. A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News live on News First. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Hello there and welcome. I'm Nadim Majid. Let's start off with a look at tonight's top story.
The Media Centre of the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development says that 3 local leaders in an attempted resurgence of the LTTE were killed in a confrontation with troops in the jungle of Padavia today. The director of the Media Centre, Brigadier Ruwan Banigusurya, at a media briefing convened this evening, said the deceased had been identified as Selvanayagam Kajripan, alias Gopi, Sundaralingam Kajripan, alias Tevihan, and Navaratnam Navinithan, alias Appan.
Brigadier Ruwan Banigusurya said the volume of information that came pouring out from the public helped investigators to identify the area where the suspects were hiding out. Brigadier Ruwan Banigusurya adds that the general area where the 3 local leaders, Tevian, Gobi and Appan, were hiding was identified and that troops engaged in a search operation in the jungle area of Padavia yesterday had recovered 4 backpacks containing rations, medicine, cloth and other items believed to have been used by the suspects. The director of the media centre noted further that when the identified area was surrounded in the early hours of today, 3 armed suspects who attempted to escape the area confronted troops in the cordon.
backpacks හම්බුණාට පස්සේ ඒ පදවිය ප්‍රදේශයේ ස්ථානික තිබී තමයි කැලේ තිබිලා තමයි හම්බුනේ.
The backpacks were discovered in the jungle of Padavia. The army surrounded the area at night. When they had attempted to escape in the morning, there was a confrontation. All 3 were killed in the confrontation. A judicial inquiry is currently underway under the supervision of a magistrate. Meanwhile, a pistol, 2 grenades and 3 pouches have been discovered at the location. We will be able to find out more in the future.
පිස්තෝලයක්, grenade 2ක් සහ pouches 3ක් හමු වී තිබෙනවා. තවදුරටත් මොනවද තිබෙනවද කියන එක හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
The Ministry of Defence and Urban Development notes that an attempt for the resurgence of terrorism in Sri Lanka surfaced in the general area around Palay in Jaffna, calling for the launch of another phase of the LTTE struggle for a separate state. The ministry's media centre said information had also surfaced on several key suspects who were leading this campaign. The media centre noted further that investigations had led to Gobi, Tevian and Appan being identified as the local leaders of this campaign. Furthermore, Brigadier Banigusurya notes that investigators trailing these local leaders made several arrests of 2nd and 3rd tier cadre, and that in one attempt on the 13th of March 2014, one of the suspected leaders, Gobi, escaped after shooting a police officer. Security forces then sought the support of the public to apprehend the suspects and also offered a reward.
Sundaralingam Kajipan, Black Tiger pilot කෙනෙක් හැටියට හඳුන්වන පුද්ගලයෙක්. ඒ කියන්නේ අර suicide pilot කෙනෙක්. ගෝබි කියන වචනයක් සඳහන් කරනවා නම් LTT බුද්ධ්‍යංශයේ ඉතා ප්‍රබලයෙක් හැටියට ක්‍රියා කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ LTT ක්‍රියාකාරීව තිබිච්ච අවධියේදී නවරත්නම් නවනීතම්
Sundaralingam Gajiban was a Black Tiger pilot. He was a suicide pilot. The individual known as Gobi was a prominent member of the LTTE intelligence network when the LTTE was active. Navaratnam Navinathan alias Appan had joined the LTTE in 1998. He had served them as a member of the intelligence network. Investigations thus far have revealed that their main intention was to bring forth a resurgence in terrorism in Sri Lanka by establishing an armed group. Their strategy had been to recover buried warlike material. Investigations had revealed that they had obtained funds for this through the Hawala money transfer system.
භූමියේ සංගවා තිබෙන වෝලයික් මැටීරියල් එහෙම නැත්නම් යුද්ධය සඳහා පාවිච්චි කළ හැකි අවියායුධ භූමියේ සංගවා තිබෙන දේවල් සොයා ගැනීම පරීක්ෂණවලදී හෙළි වුණා මේ අය මේ මුදල් මේ සඳහා ලබාගෙන තිබෙන්නේ හවාලා කියන මුදල් හුවමාරු කරන මුදල් ගනුදෙනු කරන ක්‍රමයේ යටතේ.
More details were also revealed at this media briefing.
මේක ඇත්තෙන්ම 623 බලසේනා මූලස්ථාන බල ප්‍රදේශයේ රාත්‍රී වාර්ෂික පුහුණුවීම් පැවැත්වෙන යුද හමුදා බටපිරිස්වල. එතකොට මේ
Annual exercises were being held in the area coming under the purview of the 623rd Brigade. The incident had occurred during a nighttime exercise. The heroic soldier who met with this unfortunate fate was Lance Corporal S. R. Raja. There is no connection between this incident and the operation that was undertaken. He had passed away during annual exercises.
අවසනාවන්ත සිදුවීමට සම්බන්ධව මේක අර මෙහෙයුමට කිසිම අදාළතාවයක් නැහැ. වාර්ෂික පුහුණුවීමකදී ඇතිවෙච්ච රාත්‍රී පුහුණුවීමකදී තමයි ඔහු මිය ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ.
Also in the headlines tonight, a suspect arrested by the Wattala police last night has died in police custody. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana said the deceased was a resident of Wattala.
The deceased had been arrested by the police last night during an operation to apprehend drunk drivers. The police media spokesperson says that the deceased was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. The police say that the deceased was put in a holding cell at the police station along with 3 others. The police media unit said that the man who was arrested at about 7 o'clock last night was found dead in the holding cell this morning, adding that the time of death had not been determined. The police say that the other 3 suspects who were being detained at the station had made statements to the effect that the deceased had not been assaulted. The deceased has been identified as S. Vijay Kumar, a 47-year-old father of 2. The body was taken to the Ragama Teaching Hospital today for the judicial medical examination. The police say that an investigation into the incident has been commenced, led by Senior Superintendent of Police. Numerous incidents where suspects have died in police custody. Suspect hangs himself inside a holding cell at the Bambalapitiya police. Suspect in the murder of a mother and a rape of a daughter in Pittigala falls to his death following his arrest. Suspect arrested on 3 charges hangs himself inside the Baddegama police station. Suspect arrested for drunk and disorderly conduct in Anuradhapura dies en route to hospital following a sudden illness. Most recent incident reported today. For whom it may concern.
A scuffle broke out between the chairman and deputy chairman of the Balapitiya Pradeshya Sabha during a council meeting today.
When the meeting of the Balapitiya Pradeshya Sabha convened this morning, the deputy chairman rose from his seat, declaring that there was a proposal which he wished to make. However, the chairman A. Dayaratna had not granted leave for a proposal to be made. Subsequently, an argument had broken out between the two, which later escalated to a brawl. The meeting was adjourned for half an hour, following which our reporter says that the meeting proceeded peacefully.
They are not letting me maintain order in the council. I had to resort to such action after exercising patience over 3 years. He wants to take over the chairmanship. He is trying to disprove that I am a person who works hard and rapidly, and he is trying to prove that I do not know how to work with the people. That is why he is instigating such incidents. The chairman must definitely grant leave for proposal to be put forward by us. I know that it is wrong not to do so. I am truly saddened that I have to work under such a chairman. I believe that he needs to be more mature in order to be a chairman.
Also in local government, Somadasa Kodagoda was elected to the position of chairman of the Southern Provincial Council today. The maiden sitting of the Southern Provincial Council following the recently concluded elections was held today under the patronage of Chief Minister Shan Vijayalal de Silva.
The ruling party proposed Somadasa Kodagoda for the position of chairman, while the opposition nominated Ashoka Danavansa. Kodagoda was elected by a majority of 11 votes in a secret ballot. UPFA councillor Sampath Atukorala was elected as the deputy chairman. Meanwhile, Chamli Vidanachi, who functioned as the deputy chairman of the previous council, speaking in the media, expressed disappointment at losing out on the position.
I was done a major injustice. I was not even given an opportunity to express my views. I believe that this is a major injustice. Over 2 terms, I executed my duties as required as the deputy chairman of this provincial council. At the election, I was cut off for no reason at all. As long-time members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we are hurt. In truth, I will have to take a decision in the future as to whether I will continue with my political affairs.
Meanwhile, D.V. Uppul assumed duties as the Southern Province Minister of Fisheries, Livestock Production and Development, Environmental Affairs and Rural Industries, and Power and Rural and Estate Infrastructure at the Dakshina Paya complex today.
What I want is not the title of the subject. It is not the number of subjects either. I need money. Even if I am a minister with no duties, if I receive 400 to 500 million, I know what to do with that. I know how to spend for the people.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa engaged in religious observances at the historic sacred grounds of Kathragama yesterday. The President first worshipped at the Kirivehera in Kathragama and then visited the Kathragama Mahadevalaya and obtained blessings. The President also met with devotees who visited the sacred grounds and engaged in a cordial discussion with them.
Taking a look at another headline story tonight, 9 members of the former President's Security Division who were sentenced to imprisonment over the torture of musical couple Rukanta Gunatilaka and Chandralekha Pereira were released following a presidential pardon today.
Commissioner General of Prisons Chandraratna Pallegamma noted that one of the convicts who was serving time at the Valikadu prison and the other 8 who were serving time at the Kaluthuru prison have been released. Pallegamma noted that they were released based on special powers vested in the President. The 9 former Presidential Security Division personnel were sentenced to a 4.5-year rigorous imprisonment last year by the Panadura High Court. One of the defendants, who was disabled, received a lenient sentence. The former PSD personnel who were convicted of breaking into the residence of Rukanta Gunatilaka and Chandralekha Pereira at about 9 o'clock on the night of the 26th of January 2000 and harassing and torturing them, which included cutting off their hair. The defendants had doused the couple in petrol and had stolen a jeep and jewellery from the house before fleeing. Presidential spokesperson Mohan Sabanayaka said that the President had granted presidential pardons to the convicts following a request made of him by Rukanta Gunatilaka at a recent meeting.
Homicides were reported from several parts of the island today. More details on Crime Watch investigation.
A 24-year-old youth had been stabbed to death in the Ambatana area in Yahala Ramukkana. The police said that the victim had been consuming alcohol in a secluded area last night with 5 others. The mother of the victim said another individual arrived and went away with her son, who was asleep last night. The victim was YP Indikaruwan, a father of 2. According to the victim's family, the individual who is accused of carrying out the murder is connected to a number of crimes in the area and had also levelled death threats to the victim. Relatives had also made complaints to the Ramukkana police over these threats. The police said that the suspects connected to the homicide had fled the area. A youth who was operating a shop in the Kathragama town was shot at around 9 last night. The shooting was a result of a dispute that had escalated. Relatives of the victim said the owner of the shop adjacent to the victim's shop had carried out the shooting.
Someone had attacked his father. No son would just stand there and watch his father being beaten. The other party left, and when they were seated, they had shot him. These armed people are not allowing us to live in a just way.
The police said that the shooting was carried out with the use of a weapon similar to a pistol. The police are investigating as to how the suspect came to possess the firearm. The victim killed in the shooting was 28-year-old W.A. Chaturadisneka, a resident of Datagamua, Katargama. Our correspondent said that the victim was also a bodybuilder. The suspect had fled the area, and the Katargama police are conducting a joint investigation to apprehend the suspect with the Special Crimes Investigation Unit of Tangol. An individual who was admitted to the Dambulla Base Hospital with lacerations on his genitals died after admission. Our correspondent said that the individual was found lying on the road in the S-Bend area on the Dambulla Kurunagala Road after information came through the 119 emergency hotline. The individual was admitted to the Galewella Divisional Hospital and was later transferred to the Dambulla Base Hospital due to the seriousness of his injuries. The police said that the victim was 44-year-old Susil Jasingha, a resident of Malsiripura, Valipatwala. It was revealed that the victim was employed at the Dambulla Economic Centre and the body was transferred to the Matale Hospital morgue for the post-mortem examination. A 67-year-old woman was killed with the use of a sharp weapon in the Pitipana area in Homagama last evening. The victim had been living alone in the house and had been identified as Hetti Tantrige Donpiyawati Vijayasinghe, a mother of 3. The police said that the suspect who carried out the murder had fled with the jewellery of the victim.
The principal of John Kothalawala College, Kurunagala, who was remanded in connection with the suicide of a schoolgirl over a photograph that was uploaded onto the social media website Facebook, was released on a surety of 500,000 rupees today.
He was released on bail when the case was taken up before the Kurunagala Additional Magistrate Shilani Pereira today. The suspect was released on bail on a previous occasion and was remanded following a complaint made by the National Child Protection Authority that he attempted to intimidate witnesses. When the case was taken up today, the Additional Magistrate warned the defendant not to attempt to intimidate the witnesses. The case has been postponed until the 28th of April.
Activists revealed today that residents of homes in the Bakery Vatta and 188th estate in Narahempeta have been informed to vacate their homes. The revelation was made today at a media briefing convened by the recently established Organisation to Protect Home Ownership in Narahempeta and Vanathamulla.
නාගරික සංවර්ධන අධිකාරියෙන් ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ
The Urban Development Authority had informed them that their homes are to be demolished and that they would be given homes in the Vanathamulla scheme. Some of them were in favour of this, some opposed to it. On either side of me here are people who opposed to this step. They have a right to this land. These are the original deeds. When they indicated that they would not leave, they came here directly and told them that they would take steps to evict them if they do not move.
රුජුවම ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වා අපි ඕගොල්ලෝ මේ ස්ථාන වලින් යන්නේ නැත්තම් අපි ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ඉවත් කිරීමට පියවර ගන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
Footage alleged to be of officials who had come to the area and expressed their aforementioned views, recorded by residents, was distributed to the media at this instance.
No matter which human rights commission you go to, the commission cannot take any action in this matter. The Human Rights Commission is only a mediation board. There is no resolution that they can give you. As a public institution, the power has been vested in us. You may be aware that there is a Land Acquisition Act that we employ when taking over lands. You are not protected by the Land Acquisition Act. You do not have ownership of this land. Under the Land Acquisition Act, you have no right over this land. The election is over. It is not a right. Understand this. We are only informing you. The decision is in your hands. You can take any decision you wish. There is no problem. People who used to be here with you are now in the 54 estate. They have been given the same homes in the 54 estate. If you will not go there, we will give that to someone else. There are plenty of people who want it. There is no connection with human rights here. This land comes under the Metro Colombo. and it will be developed as such.
If the Urban Development Authority proves that they are acting in accordance with the Land Acquisition Act, I will resign from all positions I hold following this media briefing. It is a baseless lie.
There is no space in the other residence to put the equipment from our house. We measured it and it is only 350 square feet. I lived in Bekariwata and I was running a shop on the roadside. When they were demolishing the homes in the estate adjacent to us, our shops too were demolished. They have not recompensated us for that as yet. We say either give us an appropriate land or give us compensation. If the Urban Development Authority is asking for these lands for beautification, we are willing to give it. But at the same time, we ask that we be given a fair solution.
Welcome back to the news. With no sign of a resolution in sight, the strike action commenced by family health workers or midwives continued for the 11th day today.
A group of midwives who are engaged in the strike action staged a demonstration in the Mathura town today.
Nurses do not take the Nightingale oath and then go to the labour room to deliver a child into this world. They are appointed to care for the mothers. Now a situation has arisen where they have crept into the labour room and are dragging children out.
Meanwhile, a group of midwives from areas including Puthalam and Kurunagala arrived at the Munneswaram Kovil today and engaged in religious rituals.
After we vaccinate a child, we constantly go to the child's house and monitor the child for side effects. If they bring them all to the hospital to vaccinate them, who is going to go to their homes? Neither the matrons nor the nurses will go to the homes to look into side effects.
Meanwhile, a group of midwives from the Kaluthura district also engaged in a puja ceremony at the Kaluthura Bodhiya, praying for divine intervention to resolve the matter.
Today is day 16 of Around the World in 40 Days, a 40-day goodwill tour, a joint venture of Newsfirst and Sri Lanka Youth that is taking place parallel to the World Conference on Youth that will be held in Sri Lanka in May this year. The Sri Lankan delegation visited several areas in Sydney, Australia today.
Around the World in 40 Days.
The Sri Lanka delegation left for the Katoomba train station this morning from the Central Railway Station in Sydney. The journey was a distance of 130 kilometres and the Buddhist temple in Katoomba provided accommodation to the Lankan delegation. Later, the delegation was escorted for a trek on the Blue Mountains. A rainbow added more colour to the scenic beauty of the mountain range known as the Three Sisters. At an elevation of 100 meters above sea level, the mountain range was indeed a magnificent creation of Mother Nature and has drawn the attention of many tourists from all corners of the globe. The Sri Lanka delegation will set off to the United States of America tomorrow.
The Minister of Fisheries says that seafood prices in the marketplace can be reduced with the intervention of the State Fisheries Corporation. Dr. Rajitha Senaratne adds that the Fisheries Corporation's island-wide network of 134 stores will be increased to 250 in the near future.
The minister engaged in an inspection tour of the Palyagoda fish market today to monitor seafood prices during the festive season.
The price of seafood increases during the New Year season, but today the price of fish has reduced during the Sinhala New Year season. A key factor here is the increase in seafood production. Through the stores of the Fisheries Corporation, we have removed the middleman. It is because the middleman has been removed that seafood can be bought at the market for a fair price today.
Dr. Dayan Jayathilaka says there is a danger that a process on Sri Lanka could be initiated at the International Criminal Court. Speaking at a forum organised by the Liberal Party in Colombo last evening, the veteran diplomat highlighted other paths that could be used by the West to take action on Sri Lanka in the event that Sri Lanka does not cooperate with the inquiry of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights.
I do not hold the view that Sri Lanka should cooperate with this inquiry. I believe that Sri Lanka should resist this inquiry. But I do not take the position of the government of Sri Lanka that that's all one should do. Shutting the door is something that is doubtless anticipated by those who moved the resolution. There will be consequences. There is another way of getting to the International Criminal Court. There's a high degree of discretion permitted the chief prosecutor of the ICC. If the chief prosecutor thinks that a particular crime or case of sufficient magnitude, he or she can initiate a process. The government of Sri Lanka expects this to be blocked in the Security Council, but the Security Council isn't the only way to get there. And I do believe that there is this danger.
The forum, held at the auditorium of the Organization of Professional Associations, was attended by prominent politicians, members of civil society and members of the public.
Taking a look at the elections in India, media in India are outraged over prominent regional politician Mulayam Singh Yadav's comment that giving death penalty to rape convicts was unfair. Yadav, who is the chief of the Samajwadi Party, reportedly said at an election rally that he opposed death penalty for rape convicts and his party would change the law if voted to power.
Parents of the Delhi gang rape victim condemned the statement of the chief of India's regional Samajwadi Party, Mulayam Singh Yadav, who trivialized the crime and referred to the rapist as mere boys who committed a mistake who do not deserve capital punishment. Slamming Yadav for his controversial remark, the mother of the Delhi gang rape victim said that such people have no right to remain in power.
हम इसका तो पूरा विरोध करते हैं, हम इससे सहमत नहीं हैं, क्योंकि गलती
We condemn the remark made by Chief of India's regional Samajwadi Party, Mulayam Singh Yadav, and we do not agree with it. We accept that mistakes can happen, but it cannot happen again and again. It is not a mistake if you can conspire and form a gang and rape a girl. It's a crime. It is wrong of him to make such a comment despite holding such a position. Such people do not have any right to remain in power. I would like to appeal to all the women's organizations not to let such people enter politics.
अपील करेंगे कि ऐसे लोगों को तो सत्ता में आना ही नहीं चाहिए.
Father of Delhi gang rape victims said that the safety of women is at stake because of leaders like Yadav.
जब इतने बड़े लेवल के लोग इतनी नीची सोच.
When people of this stature stoop into such a level, what will happen to the people of this country? If 2 or 3 people rape a girl, then is it a crime or a mistake?
रेप करता है तो गलती होती है.
India's regional party Janata Dal, Supremo HD Dev Govda, promised to provide more jobs and fight against inflation and give a boost to the country's slowing economy in his party manifesto. Govda released the manifesto in the presence of party members in India's IT hub, Bangalore City.
Even after 65 years of independence, the drinking water is not solved in the entire country. Even today the people are suffering to get good drinking water. And the farmers are committing suicide even today. Both BJP and Congress, what they have done, I know that. What I have done as Prime Minister for a short period of 10 months, the country knows it. The priority sectors are farming sector, unemployment sector, and bring down the prices, improve our inflation economy, because they say it is a world phenomenon. I am not going to accept that.
Voters of India's northeastern Mizoram province cast their vote after the polls scheduled for Wednesday were postponed. Polling in Mizoram was scheduled to be held on the 9th of April, but the Election Commission deferred it to the 11th of April due to a 3-day shutdown and poll boycott declared by non-governmental organizations and students groups in the state. 6 voluntary organizations and students group led by the Young Misro Association called the 3-day statewide strike on the 7th of April and urged people to boycott the polls, protesting against the Election Commission's decision to allow tribal refugees to cast their votes through postal ballot.
Well, it appears that throwing shoes at politicians has also become a sport. Moving on to some sports news, Sri Lanka women's cricket captain Shashikala Siriwardana's request to resign as captain has been accepted by SLC.
Shashikala Siriwardana was first named captain of the women's team in 2005. Incidentally, Shashikala is the longest serving women's team captain in terms of matches played. SLC announced this evening that Shashikala had submitted her letter of resignation to the CEO of SLC today. Speaking to Sports First, Shashikala said she arrived at this decision in order to better herself as a cricketer.
Women's cricket team for 7 years almost, so I think this time I requested from SLC to resign from the captaincy due to my personal reasons, and hoping to play for the team as a normal member for another 2.5 years, maybe till the next World Cup in 2017 in England. So hoping to give my best and share my experience with the other players within that period.
Shashikala Siriwardana, a talented all-rounder, had also been selected for the World Women's 11. Shashikala is also one of the top-ranked all-rounders in the world in women's T20 cricket.
Olympic and Paralympic athlete Oscar Pistorius broke down in court once again today as he came under tough cross-examination during his murder trial over the shooting of girlfriend Riva Steenkamp. On the third day of his cross-examination, Pistorius was grilled over specific details leading up to the shooting. Now we have some excerpts from the court proceedings in Pretoria. Now, for instance, these court proceedings can be publicized on media. However, what you will be witnessing now is audio from Oscar Pistorius as he has requested not to be shown on media. Let's take a look.
A possibility that when I ran out to the balcony that I could have kicked the cable or the fan or pushed it away. I don't remember any of that, my lady.
Yeah, it's because it never happened. That's why I can't remember it.
My lady,
that's not what happened.
In the beginning of my evidence, I said that I remember everything from when I woke up to the time that I discharged my firearm. My memory after that is not very clear. There are things that I don't remember. This is one of them. So I'm not looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
If I don't remember it, I don't remember it, my lady.
Mr. Pistorius, are you okay? You're not emotional?
No, I'm fine, my lady. If I kicked the fan, it would have been in my favor to say I kicked the fan, to explain where the small fan landed up, but I can't say that because I don't remember it.
But
so there are things here that are in my favor if I say them, but I don't remember.
But so are you getting emotional?
Yes, I'm very emotional, my lady.
Why?
Because it's a difficult time for me to remember.
But why would this question make you emotional?
Because this is a night I lost the person that I cared about. I don't know how people don't understand that.
Well, Nadim, that trial in South Africa has been getting a lot of attention and has been covered extensively on the international media with minute-by-minute details of what goes on in this court in Pretoria. Now, the court will, of course, gather again on Monday at 9:30 a.m. South African time. So we'll have more details of the Oscar Pistorius trial as and when it unfolds. With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us as usual. It's a long weekend and we hope you have a good time and stay safe. I'm Mahina Blongzo.
I'm Nadim Majid. We leave you tonight with a look at the weather forecast. Wishing you a pleasant weekend ahead. Good night and good luck.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.